What's up? It's your favorite lawyer, Allie Booker, and today we're going to talk about something that's legal. But what we're going to talk about today, guys, is voting. Voting. All right? I want to talk about voting rights. It is a huge misconception amongst the black community, and amongst the brown community, and amongst the yellow community that once you've been to jail, you don't have voting rights. You have voting rights, guys. Okay. And this is in many jurisdictions. And when I say jurisdiction, I mean state. Each state has their own laws with respect to restoration of voting rights of convicted felons. However, much of the time, on many fronts, it's uniform in that your voting rights are restored upon completion of sentence, upon completion of sentence, upon completion of conviction. Okay. And when I say completion of conviction or completion of sentence, this is what I mean. You go to jail, or you burglary of a habitation. You get convicted of burglary of a habitation. That's a second degree felony punishable by 2 to 20 in Texas. You get 15. Okay, because you've been doing it a few times, whatever. Okay, they give you 15 years. Okay. You will vote again. You will vote again. You will vote after that 15 years is over. So let's say we go to jail on a 15-year sentence. We come up for parole, because in Texas most of the time burglary it's not treated 3G, so you don't have to do half the time. It's not an aggravated offense. So let's say you do a quarter of the time. You come up for parole and you make it. Okay, so you're out of jail now, but you still have a significant portion of your sentence to complete. Okay, so you've been in jail for almost 4 years. So you're going to be on parole. You're going to be on parole for about 11 and a half years. Okay. While you're on parole, you're not eligible to vote. You're not eligible to vote if you're on probation, deferred, parole. But as soon as that sentence has been served, your voting rights can be restored. All you have to do is go get them. Go get your voting rights. Register to vote. It's simple. And the reason that I'm telling you all now is because there's something else that I want to talk about with voting rights is getting your address updated on voting on the voting with respect to voting. Some people like to move their license around or leave their license at their mother's house, and then they vote from their mother's house. It's up to you, but we need to become more as a people more strategic in where we vote at and what jurisdictions we're voting for. And what parties we're voting for, so that we're able to have more of an impact in voting and in the voting world, and with these elections, so that we're able to get the people that we need. So the reason I'm talking to you guys now is because a lot of people move in the summertime. Summertime's getting ready to come up. A lot of people have been displaced or have moved due to Corona, etc. A lot of people don't have their voting rights and tried to vote in this past election and found out they couldn't. So we need to start working on that stuff and getting it taken care of right now. Right now. Okay. You can update your address with just the voting registry. Okay. And that will determine what jurisdiction you will vote in. Okay. But you got to get that stuff taken care of. You got to make sure that you're registered, because elections will be coming around soon. We always have senators and House members that we have to vote on constantly. Okay. And they come up every so often, and we need to be ready to be able to vote for those people. You have judges that will come up within the next year or so, and you got to be ready to vote. And you don't want to be getting yourself ready to vote and getting registered right before voting, because that's when the problem comes. It shouldn't come, but they're going to use anything they can to disenfranchise us. So what we need to do is make sure that we have everything lined up ahead of time. And the reason that I'm saying let's go ahead and get it done now is because it's April. We'll have stuff coming around before you know it, within a year. And we need to be ready. Everybody needs to be ready to go. So I want all my felons that have served their sentences to go and register to vote. Go and register to vote. That way, if there are any hills that you have to climb, or anything with respect to proving anything, showing proof of anything, you got more than enough time to get that stuff in, taken care of, and make sure that your seat is saved and you can vote at the next election. So I want everybody to work on that. If you guys have any questions about voting rights, feel free to email me. But I want people to know that just because you've been to jail doesn't mean you can't vote. So what? So what, you been to jail? So you can't vote? But that's what we think. And that's what we do. And we let people tell us, oh, you're a felon, you can't vote anymore. That ain't true. You can vote. As long as you're not on parole, you can vote. Go get your uncle who got off parole, take him with you. Go get your auntie who they tried to mess up out of the last election because they say she didn't vote the time before last, and take her with you. Everybody, because people get turned away when it comes down to voting for the darndest things. You didn't vote in the last election, so you're not registered. We need to get this done now. Let's make sure we register before the rush comes. Okay? Before we're in that last year and upon the eve of an election, because you know it's going to take months, even when you update it, for you not to have issues with voting. Because up until then, if you change registration, and legally it shouldn't be so. But what I have noticed is if you switch and try to do stuff 4 to 5 months before an election, it can be up in the air as to whether you can vote or not. Because something doesn't go through, and then you don't have time to push it through, and then they don't have this, and then you're not eligible to vote because it wasn't done in time. So let's start working on that stuff now. You also want to wait until don't want to wait until election years, because that's when most people are doing it. So you know you're dealing with a government agency that has to overlook these things and give you answers. So the government is slow. We all know the government is slow. So let's not wait till everybody else is doing it, and let's just do it now, right? Then when we have all of our voting rights, I'm going to teach you as these elections come up how to vote. Not how to vote, because you have your own voice. We're strong black people. We're smart. We know what we want to do. But we have to start to align ourselves in such a way, because we are so smart, so that we take out the strongest opponent on the other side, so that they don't have their strongest opponent running against our strongest opponent, and we get what we want without problems. Okay? So that's what I mean when I say teach you how to vote. I'm going to teach y'all strategically how to make moves so that we're able to checkmate out the other side and the people we don't want to see at the big elections. We don't want to see them we need to take their behinds out early. And we're going to start doing that. We're going to use African Diaspora in this channel to align ourselves together to learn as a nation and as a people, as an African diaspora, how to maneuver in government so that we can get what we need. Because that's the only thing that holds us back, is that the laws weren't written for us, and they weren't written by us, and they disenfranchised us in so many ways for so long that now we're trying to learn the game. And with the game's been going for hundreds of years, we're just getting in the game. Now we haven't been slaves for a long time, but our rights have been stripped so that we haven't been included, and we still aren't included today. Because if you ask me, the laws that they claim and say are supposed to be equal are inapplicably. They're not properly applied. Excuse me. So they're improperly applied to us, right? So you can say you have a law that says we're equal, you don't apply it right, we're still messed up. And that's what they do to us now. They write the law, but then they don't apply it. It don't apply to us. We can't get the conviction on the officers and whatnot when they're beating us down, and we know that we should be able to get justice. So we're going to do what we have to do. We're going to do this now. We're getting ready to start voting. So you're going to see me coming on here. We're going to be talking about voting every so often, because I need to make sure everything is lined up so we can start voting strategically, okay, as a channel, okay, intellectually, and knocking out and teaching our people how to knock out their strongest candidates that aren't for us, so that we can get who we need in office to help our people, our neighborhoods, okay? All right. So start working on getting your voting rights restored. Start working on registering yourselves to vote. If you did not register or vote in the last election, make sure that you go ahead and start to do that now with registration. Re-register. Okay. Also, look at the address that you're using on your voters registration cards, and with your voters registration, make sure it's in a district that will count. Okay, that applies to you. Okay, because I would argue up to you. I would argue to you and say this: if you can use your grandmother's address. Why would you? When that's a whole black, it's a black neighborhood, and you know how they're gonna vote. Boom. If they're going Sheila Jackson Lee, get on the other side and use your home address or whatever other address you have to vote, right? In the other elections. So you can help Democrats or the people that you like over there. Because sometimes we try to help each other in these local grassroots elections, but we don't need that help. What we need to do is step outside, go to the other jurisdiction, and get the messing up their stuff, right? So we can control who's in the White House in totality, right? In Congress and in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, right? Okay. So y'all have a fantastic day. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. She a lawyer on Instagram. She _ya_lawyer. Y'all have a fantastic day. Bye bye.